Okay, center speaker today. Last time we just finished calibrating the fronts. They turned out absolutely excellent. They just sound really, really good. Had a few comments on the last video. Let's just take a look at those real quick. Good results. This is from Mark. He uses from file, which is another way of doing this. It's essentially the same. Essentially, you're kind of not using REW, and you're using, outside test tones, you could say, and it does all the sweeps and stuff for you. Obsessive Compulsive actually linked them as well. I've downloaded them just in case I want to use that method too. He's a big advocate of REW and MultEQ-X for the app and getting everything done. It's negated the need for mini DSP. I'm going to give that a try. What mini DSP is, if people don't know, is a way of calibrating your subwoofers incredibly well. It's just really it's an excellent piece of hardware. You put your subwoofers directly in it. You do all the EQ work and DSP and stuff like that, and then you send it from there to your subwoofers, and you can just get absolutely excellent results. But yeah, this new method, or the way Audyssey is now, is you could do away with the mini DSP. But I need to contact Audyssey before I start doing this. What I'm worried about is how much headroom and things do I have to play with on the receiver. Is there any chance of clipping or anything like that? I am a little worried there. Whereas mini DSP, there's no issues with that whatsoever. I've seen it go high, but there's definitely no clipping or anything like that. So yeah, I'm definitely looking into it or thinking about this, but I haven't got the time for doing this yet. But I definitely want to do it. I think if I can use this method, I should be able to get even better results with the subs than I have now, and the results I have now are absolutely incredible. So yeah. I would advise correcting each speaker individually to the target curve, to achieve 100% tonal matching, especially for the surrounds and overheads. I will give it a try, but I've done this before. I've done it once before, and I knew instantly that it didn't sound as good. Now I was trying to think, because I know you left a comment a little while ago now, and I've been trying to think why that is. My only thing is there more chance? Let's say the result of one speaker was this, right? That's the target. And you're exceptionally close, and the left speaker and the right speaker measured this all the way down. They played exactly the same, right? It was literally the same speaker. Is there more chance of comb filtering and those delay issues getting in the way of that sound? Because I was trying to think, why did my calibration sound worse when I measured individual speakers versus combining the two? So I've been thinking about this, and so this is the speaker. This is calibrated, right? These are the speakers calibrated, the left and the right. And when you look at them from an equality point of view, they're different here. They're different. They're different. The speakers are at different volumes by 1 to 2 dB here. There's a crossover, and they change positions, and they're closely aligned, right? They are closely aligned, even like this, but they're different. does that affect comb filtering and any weird delays that you get in your system, and it just can sound worse because of it? The goal here is to get the average, the summed sound, right? The summed sound from both is perfect. Why is this important? I think it's important because when you listen to music and there's a bass drum, unless there's any weird things going on and they're trying to change the sound for a reason, when you listen to music, where does a bass drum come from? It comes from both speakers. When you hit snares, again, unless they're trying to create some stereo effect, most of the time the snares are coming from both speakers. So when they're coming from both speakers, that combined response is giving me this like target curve that is essentially perfect. Voices, a lot of the time, I know there's like sometimes they put there's effects on them, they delay them to say a certain speaker, but again, most of the time the vocals, unless they're putting effects on them, do come out of both speakers at the same time, and both speakers play the Harman target curve perfectly. Now you could say, well, if the left speaker and the right speaker are perfect as the Harman target curve, then when they both play, wouldn't they also be perfect? I don't know. I know that sounds weird, but they would have to be time aligned absolutely perfectly, and the reason I say this is because of calibrating the subwoofer. You can get worse response from two speakers, two subwoofers, if they're not time aligned correctly. You put two subwoofers in a room and you're like, oh, I'm going to get much better response with, and I'm not going to EQ them, I'm not going to time align them, I'm just going to put them in my room. Sometimes you lose bass, and that is something I have been thinking about. Again, this might be a little academic, and it's like, no, they just do sound better with both speakers, but this is just my thought process of, well, I've done both methods combined to make an average. It sounds better. On my system, it sounded better, but it was using an old way of EQ, like I was EQing, manually, with generic 17 PEQ filters in port, then maybe stacking them, so there was that going on. So, with this new system though, I've fully calibrated my system now, just to make sure. I wanted to hear how it sounds, and it's absolutely incredible. Like I'm having to watch all of my movies and listen to my music all over again, because there's just subtle things that I pick up on now. I'm like, whoa, I didn't hear that before, like that, So, in any case, we're chasing perfection here. We're chasing absolute perfection. Which one gives the best results? I will definitely figure it out. That's for sure. 100%. Yeah. So. I think absorption, diffusion, and some type of room treatment in my room is definitely worthwhile. I've never gotten into room treatment. I have a curtain in front of me that goes all the way across. It's to block all of the light, and that actually really helps soften a lot of the sound and reflections. As well, so it's definitely something I've thought about before. Is there any way to reposition the rear speaker or the overhead speaker to achieve greater separation? In my setup, no. And this is something I think a lot of people will understand, is the limitations of the way you've designed your room, your speaker layout, and it's just like, this is just the way the speakers are going to be placed. We thought about it when we moved in about, how and where we want the speakers. I didn't want to drill into the ceiling and put the speaker, I didn't want to do that. This is an Auro 3D layout as well. I'm happy with it. perfect. You know, there's none. I don't think any of our rooms are absolutely perfectly set up, but I'm extremely happy with it. You know, that's just the way it is. So can't do anything about it. No. But like, it sounds excellent. So could you have better separation? Maybe even put more speakers along the walls and everything. I know you're saying about the height though. It's the height separation, but it's not a big deal. It still sounds excellent. So yeah. All right. Let's move on to the actual center channel calibration. First thing I have to do is open an existing calibration. This is full calibrate. This is my new calibration that I did full. I did every single speaker or every set of speakers because I rushed it. Well, I didn't rush it out, but I made sure I got it for my Saturday night movie. And let me tell you, it is absolutely insane. The sound, I've never heard my system sound like this. Absolutely, just again, a professional demo room, or better. Let's connect to the receiver, and the reason we're having to do this is because my current real, you could say, my real calibration is on the receiver, and you have to put another file in. Essentially, you have to remove it, right? So let me just check what's on here. Target. So yeah, we've got the front fix, we have the YouTube curve, and that's it. All right. Everything else is my normal settings. None of these are on, and we just transfer. Okay. So what this is doing is only applying the EQ work that we did last video, and now this center channel will not have any EQ done on it at all, none. So it's a flat response according to Audyssey, right? There's nothing being applied. So yeah, and then we can measure it freely. Now you could say, well, why don't you turn Audyssey off to measure? Well, again, I have to test things, right? I tested, so turn Audyssey off, right? And measure your system. Turn Audyssey on with no filters in any channels, none of the PEQ filters. It's just everything's deleted, right? There's no filters whatsoever. Remeasure, measures exactly the same, right? There's no difference whatsoever, and there shouldn't be. There might be, I've thought about this as well, there could be potential timing differences. Maybe, there might be, because you've got to think about this. It's not going through the Audyssey filter. Now the sound is going through the Audyssey filter. Yeah, it's not applying any PEQs, but it's turned on now, right? So it might not be much, but it's just, again, some things I think about. Okay, so that's passed to the receiver. These are all the old measurements for this. If it gets really too much, I could just delete these and then just restart. I might even delete them. Yeah, I think I am. There's no need to have them, is there? I mean, right now. Yeah, I'm going to start again. Right. Front's average. Yeah, let's keep that. Let's just keep that. We don't. So yeah, we don't need to measure. If this is the first time you're watching this video, we're not using REW to measure. We're not using their test tones. We have the calibration file. We're not connected via HDMI. We're using the UMIC 1. I tested the exclusive drivers, and there's no difference. So I was like, okay, it doesn't matter. It's completely fine. Right. So yeah, So yeah, just again, sorry, real quick. We're using test tones off of a disc, off a Blu-ray disc with all the test tones we need. These are completely full range, absolutely full range. Sorry, they're full range and they match the test tones provided by REW. The full range sweeps, they mirror that, but it comes in the it comes as pink noise, and you can measure that with an RTA. So yeah. All right, let's get going. So center channel. The sound wasn't too loud last time, so I checked it back and it was completely fine. I thought it was going to be louder on the mic. I have a habit of putting everything in full screen, and I was watching the video back and I was like, yeah, I probably shouldn't put it in full screen, so just so you can, you know, fully see averages and things like that. I don't know, I've just got a thing like about putting things in full screen. I'll try not to do it. Okay, so that was the measure. Current. Let's see what we have. So center. Oh god. Center. Okay. We'll apply psychoacoustic smoothing. We've got a lot of bass kick here. So let's see. Yeah, that rises really. This is obviously calibrated, but that rise is really interesting. Another thing I've been thinking about as well is because I've been listening to my system now fully calibrated. There is potential because there's so much EQ going on in certain parts of this curve. It could stress your amplifier slash receiver, like my X6500, right? Denon. I thought I was pushing my sound just a bit too high on some of the demos that I was doing. I was like, yeah, that's got to come down a bit because the sound potentially, to me, sounded potentially a little stretched. And I had a conversation with my dad actually about this, and it's like, it's almost like your system potentially could be running out of steam. Like you don't have the amplifier to do this, so I am thinking about getting another receiver, or even going into separates. Separates, you're going to have so much power, it's insane, and that's really the thing, right? It's just about I said this on my last video. Do you have enough amplification to do all of the work that you need to do? You can buy any speaker you want, right? As long as it doesn't run out of power, and as long as your amplifier can give you that power, that's all that really matters. And I potentially felt I was getting a little towards the edge of the performance of my receiver, like this. So it is something to consider. But I think I might have a workaround for it, and I'll explain in a minute how we do that. All right, so this is the center. Let's go to EQ because I just want to see like what's going on. Full screen again. I think I mean I don't know if this position where I put the position, like generate measurement from target shape, does it matter where this line is with the calculation itself? I don't know. I'm not going to do it in this video because actually we could do. We really could see where does the position matter for the calculation. Let's try it. So trace arithmetic. It's the target center. Yeah, target center versus the center, or over the center. Generate. Okay, then we have the A over B. Let's SPL align them to 75 dB. Okay, and let's do that. Now, if I do this, let's turn that off for a sec. Turn the A over B off. Target center I'm going to delete. Then go back to EQ. What's on screen? Sorry about that. Alright, it is. Alright. I'm just checking the center. It's just the center on screen. Okay. Why am I seeing this? I know. Because I have it checked. Yeah, I have it selected. There we go. Alright. Let's bring this down. Right to this point. Right. Everything above this line I want EQ. Just the whole thing, right? The whole curve. Generate from measurement. Now we'll do the same thing. Trace arithmetic. Target center over the center. A over B, yep. Generate. Now put the old A over B on and the new A over B on. These are all on. Align SPL to 75. Are they different? Let's take that off. Let's take the target off. They're not. They're literally mirrored over the top of each other. That would suggest to me then that the it doesn't matter where this is, right, on the amount of volume that the target curve is. I might continue doing it that way, but it doesn't look as though it actually matters where they are in SPL on this graph. It's just taking the actual measurement versus the other one and what it's missing. Yeah, so I think that's how it's working. So I guess that doesn't matter. We can just delete one. All right, so that is our A over B. This, right. So again, it's mirroring, or this way, yeah, orange, is mirroring everything we're missing in the EQ compared to the target. It's exactly what we're missing. Very interesting. As well, so let's discuss this about, can we save amplifier power by importing more of this or not? Let's see. Because in my last video I said this is the measurement for the center speaker, right? This is the target. What I said was this is free. It's only free, and it is true, it is free, right? But it's only free when you haven't applied any EQ. When you apply EQ, this is actually not free anymore. It is. It just is not. It's not free because you're above the actual line that you're going to be EQing to, or the target itself. This has to now be taken into account as an amplification. How much do you have to amplify to get this back? So it's only free in a non-EQ system, right? At least I think. So let's see if this is actually right. And I have a way of checking this. So Okay, export measurement as text. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the full range of measurements. Now I said not to use this last time, but we can edit the text file, so don't worry about it. This is all standard. This is all how it should be. This is completely fine. We're going to take care of this. We're going to take care of this though. YouTube fronts curve. So this would be a YouTube center curve. Center. Okay. There it is. All right, let's take a look at it. I didn't normalize the volume again, but let's do it. Sorry about that. I do apologize. I like to normalize the volume of the A over B because I am very worried about having something go into Audyssey that has its volume raised by this amount, by the 75 dB, because it's taken this into account. Align SPL at 0 dB. What this does is it normalizes the volume to 0, right? Which is what Audyssey does. It's exactly the same as what Audyssey does. Which actually is very useful. So now we export again as text. This is fine. It goes to 23. Audyssey actually does accept this, by the way. It accepts it, but it's going to roll off, right? As soon as you hit 20K, it's going to roll off. So you don't have to like delete the measurements that are above 20K. Well, again, we'll see if that is true, but I think I've done this before and it worked completely fine. So let's go over center. Just overwrite that. YouTube center. Okay. So what do we actually have here? I won't go full screen so you can actually see some of the rest of this code all the way at the bottom. What you need to do is you need to clean this up because Audyssey doesn't like this anyway. Okay. Now we're going down to 2 Hertz, which is unacceptable. We're not doing that. You'll blow. I think you'll. Yeah, you'll do something really bad to your amplifier / anything if you're amplifying like this. Now I know this is negative, but so what do we actually have to do? We're trying to save the amplifier / receiver from destroying itself or just producing too much power, right? We're trying to take that. I know we're on small and we're rolling off anyway. That is true as well. But we still want to lower. Bass is the most amplifier hungry, or you know, it costs so much power to do bass. So if you're happy with the bass on say the Harman curve, why go above it? You know, why go above that? That is now the thought process. Obviously, I need to hear how it sounds, but all right. So check this out. This is negative, right? We're at negative values here, which is good compared to the average of the volume of, which will be the central section. So we're negative. This is good because we're applying negative values to the receiver, which costs less amplification power, right? We're at -6 here at 68. Really? -6 at 68? When do we balance out? Okay. We're still negative. Okay. Right. This is the handover point, right? Imagine you're a long distance runner, or you know those runners that pass the baton on to the runner, right? I'm just analogy here. When does the EQ hit the point where there's then no amplification going on? Because these are all negative numbers, right? Now at 50 we start amplifying, right? Look at this. We're amplifying now. we're applying positive values, and it rises really quick. Look at this, we're at 0 here at 50, but at 45 we've raised by plus 4 dB. That costs too much power to do that. And I know we're at 45 Hertz, we've rolled off at 80, I know this, but it's just a roll off. Again, it's not an absolute. You are still bolstering these numbers by an amount which is not worth the amplification power to do so, right? At 40 Hertz we're at plus 9. You can't do that. You cannot do that. This is why last time what I did was I made a cutoff, generic cutoff. I said, hey, let's just cut off at 80. However, you create this problem again. These are negative numbers. So if I cut off at 80, you miss all these negative numbers. What happens when you cut off at 80? The volume of the EQ of this EQ, or what will happen to the EQ, this will drift into 0. That means you are amplifying now by plus 5, by whatever value this is, 6, right? You're amplifying by plus 6 dB because you're actually allowing the system to go back to 0 dB, which is increasing things. You can't. If you're worried about amplifier and overdriving things, you have to consider this, right? Again, you're at 80 dB, and if you cut everything here, the amplifier now, or the EQ roll off and everything like that, is going to go to 0. That means you are boosting it by plus 6. So this is nice. Think about this as well, though. This line here is nice and controlled. It's a controlled roll off that is happening here to get back to your normal speaker. The normal speaker response should be here at 50 Hertz. Let's see if it's correct. Right? It has to be at 50 Hertz. Where are we? REW. Sorry, I'm getting lost here. Let's get the center on screen. Oh my god, it's at the top there now. It doesn't matter. Alright, here we go. So the natural roll off compared to the target was 50. We said it was 50. Right, 50's here. It's exactly where it is. Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is the EQ, yeah, this is the point where the EQ and the speaker cross over to itself, where no amplification, no extra amplification is being applied, right? This is, I think, the safest way to import a filter and not have it crush your bass to give you any extra distortion. Right, it won't give you any extra distortion. I think it's the safest way. One reason why this is the safest way is because, yes, in the original video I said you gave this for free, and the Room is doing this, right? But this part is the most amplifier heavy section of this curve. Look at all of this. The more we go into treble, the easier it is, and here, the easier it is to drive a speaker, to drive everything. This costs a lot to do this. But to get to a Harman curve, you can actually apply negative numbers on here and get back some amplifier headroom, right? That is exactly what you're gaining here. This is a positive number. At 50, this is a positive number. Maybe, yeah. This is a positive number. This is a negative number. This is where this meets. Right? You could even do it 51. Yeah, you could go say, hey, I want 1 in. Right? I want to meet that at 1, and then it will join at 0. And at this point now, all of these numbers now, all of these, there's a lot. Well, there is a lot. Would say 0. Right? Everything after 51 is now 0. We are not amplifying or applying any extras to it. So we got to 51 Hertz, and again, this is the bass heavy section, the amplifier heavy section. These are all negative. This is good. This is amplifier saving now. I'm thinking about things from a power perspective as well. What's going to happen here now is around 50 hertz. It should follow the speaker's roll off perfectly, and not apply any extra boosting or anything like that. That's the theory. That's the theory. Let's see if it works. I hope it does. I think it should. I really do. I mean, I hope it does. So let's come all the way down. There's a line here. I just want to remove it, just because I'm OCD. All right, so we save that. That is now the code. So, yeah, because I've been thinking about this for a week as well. Can I save amplifier power by seeing where things are? Where do we stop applying negative numbers? And I was like, well, I have to use the full range, so let's do that. But we can just delete the parts we don't want. I was like, yeah, let's try that. So let's reconnect. I just don't want my 4K player to turn off. We have connected. Let's import a target to the center. This doesn't matter right now, but what I am considering doing is going through my other calibration, unchecking everything for flat, and on flat apply the EQ with separate EQs to each speaker. Then I can switch from reference to flat instantly, and I can instantly hear what sounds better. So that's coming. That is coming. We're going to do that. YouTube fronts curve. I'm gonna double check. That's the fronts curve. That is the wrong one. Don't know why I did that. It's at 51. This is good. Just double checking the files are correct. You can never be too sure. Okay, so this is the custom target curve. Now, now it shows here that this is being boosted by the curve, or is that just how it's pictured? Because after this point at 50 hertz, we shouldn't be applying any extra. But how EQs work, is there a roll-off on the EQ? If there is, this is something I actually need to consider. So, because it's showing it here as well, right? We're at 0 dB though. This, if you can see here, this says 0, right? So this is the line that Audyssey has normalized to the volume to, which is correct. But this is going on. I'm a little worried about that. I'm hoping this is just a display thing, because we're not actually applying any extras. But is this, not that I know, and I am asking this to you guys, how much roll-off is there that on an EQ? When an EQ finishes, does it need to be rolled off? I don't know. Yeah, this is very interesting. Okay. So let's see how it measured, you know. All my other settings were correct. Let's just transfer the filters. See what's going on. See, that's interesting. If you saw the picture there, it was being amplified, right? The actual curve was raising, right? I think we're at -6, and we were slowly getting to 0, but in a stepped fashion, right? So it was over time. In theory, yes, we were boosting. We are because we're getting louder, but we're softer in volume than what's being measured in the room by straight default. But I'm just wondering if because we are increasing volume, it's just the way the roll-off is being pictured. Don't know. If you know and how EQ filters display and work, let me know. but again, I guess we'll figure this out here. How does it measure? The speakers are set to large, so we'll truly know what's going on. Let's go. It's been sent to the receiver. We can play. Let's go to the RTA. I won't full screen it so you can see the averages. Okay. So when I see this RTA and I see that it's so smooth, well, flat, it's flat here, I know the EQ has done its work essentially, because when you don't have this, you can see like dips and roll-offs when a speaker is not correct on this RTA. You can actually see it. Now there's a roll-off happening here. Let's actually look on the other screen. Let's see what's really happening. Okay, right. Let's smooth it first. Okay, interesting. So well, let's normalize the volume for everything, I guess you could say. Line SPL 75. Okay, let's remove the A over B's. Center cal. Okay, this is really interesting. So, I mean, look at this look at this calibration from one speaker. What you can do with one speaker. The blue is the target curve, right? Obviously perfect. Calibration over the top. I mean, we're tracking within 1 to 2 dB of the target, and around this dialog. I mean, you could from this point on. I mean, from 1K on. I mean, to be honest, you could say from 300 Hertz. It is within 1 dB. When you get to 3K, borderline 2 actually. 2K, that's half a dB. It might even be less on target, all the way down to 20K. I mean, this is insane. This is an insane level of accuracy. Importing EQs in this manner, it is just absolutely crazy. All right, so what's happening with the actual bass section of this? Whoa, wrong one. Center. All right, so we've controlled this bass, right? We've gained back this headroom now. We've gained it back. Now the roll-off is, well, to me it looks as though it's honestly happening about as it should be. Now there's something, it's somehow gaining volume here. Maybe, again, the EQ roll-off is too slow. So you could go further up, right, a little, if this was let's say this did actually cause a problem. I don't think it is, right? I don't think so. Maybe we need to do some research about this again, you know, how things actually do roll off. I'm hoping it's not an issue, but again, we've gained back a significant amount here. What was it? 50 Hertz was the roll off, or the 50 Hertz is where we cut. See, we're actually, again, we're under dB here. We're under because we wanted to stay on target, right? It's actually under, which again, for a center speaker and everything is fine. You know, how much bass do you want out of a center speaker anyway? If you're rolling off speakers are small, is what I'm really talking. So I think this is good. But look at what the center speaker's doing before. it isn't too bad, right? It's actually not too bad. There's some weird bass things going on here. It's not too bad. The problem is we're just uneven. The response is uneven. Look at look at this. What is this going to do for your system? Well, dialogue intelligibility is going to go through the roof with this type of tracking and accuracy. It's through the roof. Female voices will sound crisp. There will not be a... men's voices will sound deep, but they won't sound boxy. I don't know if you've heard that from center speakers before. They're just, it's too boxy and deep. They won't sound like that. They sound smooth, natural. Treble, again, there's airiness in the treble, in this treble region. And look, I've never. This is crazy accuracy to the target curve. I'm saying. Look at this. We're getting into half a dB here. This is that is wild that you could do that. A perfect center speaker now, you know, this is perfect. Again, if you've got the power, there's no distortion, there's nothing, right? Amazing. And another thing is, does this translate to what I hear? Yes, it does. I've done the whole system this way. Absolutely amazing. I know you could say this is a separate speaker, right? It's only the center speaker. You can only have one of them. Well, you could have two. You could have one on top as well, which might actually sound better. But having two centers. But you know, this is a speaker on its own, and I just wanted to calibrate this speaker and do this video because just to get a single speaker done, right, instead of combining them like I did the left and right. Getting this individually done and seeing what you can actually do. Movies that have real dialogue issues where they potentially even could be recorded low, or in movies where you just like, well, I can't understand what they just said. There's whispering going on. There's whispering going on in Dune. Dune, the new Dune movie, the 2021, the first one, part one. The mother is, there's a lot of whispering going on there, right? Can you actually hear what she's whispering? With this, it's easy. It's easy to hear dialogue now. You know, it's not like, what did they just say? What was that muffled thing they just say? You can hear it all. Obviously, another one that comes up is Christopher Nolan movies, just because of the way he records his dialogue and the way it is, and mixes them. A lot of his movies have that low dialogue muffle, you know, either people using masks or and things like that. There is a lot of muffle going on there, and it requires an incredibly good center speaker to hear movies like Christopher Nolan and not have to put your center channel up by +3 just to hear the voices. You should not have to do that, right? On any movie, you should not have to increase the dialogue channel, the center channel, by +2, +3, or even +5, whatever you do, right? You should not have to do that. Every speaker in my room measured 75 dB. The center speaker for movies, like you can on a Denon receiver, you can save individual, like, hey, I've got one for movies, which is +2 center. I've got one for music, which is 0 center. Or hey, I want loud rears. You can do that all on a Denon receiver, and I'm sure on all the other receivers you can do that. You can put different saves. Well, I don't need to put a movies one anymore that is +dB raised volume. I don't need to do that because you've got a perfectly tracking sound center speaker here. It's absolutely perfect. Again, this speaker, right? This is one of the ELAC Unify speakers. I don't know, 5 $500 to $700. I can't remember. It's in that range, right? It's a mid-range speaker. This is not hot. This is not even hot. This is not high-end, you know. But you've really got a high-end sound with this type of calibration, with tracking this close. It's just, there's just a smoothness to it that, you know, you can't explain until you actually hear it. It's just incredible sound. Amazing. Amazing. Now, yeah, I'm going to have to figure out what is going on here. There is a slight increase here, right? You know, is it better to roll off 1 dB before, negative 1 dB before you start doing this, and it can allow the system to roll off better? I don't know. I'm not sure. The design, the target curve. Yeah, again, this is showing it's kind of doing it as well. Whereas, look, the fronts is rolling off. It's actually rolling off in a negative fashion. Whether this is actually doing it in a positive way. So, you know, again, this is something to consider. I hope it doesn't make one thing to consider as well. We're rolling off at 80 Hertz, right? This hopefully won't have an impact. So I will have to test this out and see what it does to the speakers. I do think it is probably the best way to do things, but I need to figure out whether it's just causing any potential issues. Right. My goal here is to do this EQ and have the least amount of pressure being put on the speakers. Think about this as well, right? Is there anywhere here we're actually boosting? Yeah, there. See, look at that. Look at this. Now I know this is only treble. Treble is a lot easier to boost amplifier-wise than bass, but well, actually, there's a cutoff here. It would cut off at 20k anyway. Audyssey would cut this off anyway, right? So let's negate this for a second. This like 6 dB at 22 cut. You know, let's not do that. This is actually another thing I could do, is cut the code off on the treble section. Right? I could just cut it off at. I wouldn't even do 20 because that's above 20k, right? This one here, anything that is 20k and it's got 4.1 on it is actually above the 20k. So you take the last measurement, which is 19,897 hertz, right? That's the one that you take as well. That's the limit there. You can do. So thinking about this, the best way to set this up now is when you where are we? When you export a measurement as text, it might be best to do a custom range, do it 20, but set this to 0, right? So you do 0 to 20k, knowing that you're going to cut some of the code off anyway, but you don't want to go above 20k, right? Let's just say you didn't want to do that. I don't think this makes a difference. Audyssey is already rolled off, or it completely cuts off there. So, yeah, very interesting though. But yeah, look at these results. Excellent. And again, it sounds excellent too. It's not just, hey, well, this looks pretty, right? It looks pretty, right? It looks really nice compared to this mess. You know, it's just all over the place. Yeah, it just sounds really good. So yeah, a quicker video, but I know I'm jumping around a bit and things like that. Quicker video today. So yeah, that is the center speaker. I wanted to get that done and do an individual speaker and just see what you can do and things like that. This is gorgeous, really is. And again, it sounds excellent. So incredible. So yeah, this is with REW. This is with the Audyssey PC app for the PC, or program for the PC. with doing all your manual EQ work. And this is with a calibration test disc on Blu-ray that has all of the Dolby Atmos test tones on it and everything. This is doing it this way, fully manual, full EQ, everything, and using a target curve instead of using PEQ filters with the EQ section. It just tracks better, right? You can't achieve this. You can't achieve this by doing EQ over EQ over EQ. You can't just keep stacking them like that. So, yeah. Very excited about this method, and again, the sound, incredible. So, yeah. Appreciate you watching. I'd love to hear your comments, and thanks for all the comments on the last video. Really appreciate it. And yeah, have a good day. Thanks for watching.